Welcome, football fans and USFL fans, to episode 6 of the USFL Authority. All right, Webb, what are we doing today?
Well, first of all, we're talking about the giveaway on the USFL Network YouTube channel.
Yes, we are.
Subscribe, and what do you get a chance to win? A Cavante Turpin of MVP jersey.
Yes.
Come on, man. It's the Pro Bowler.
USFL MVP Cavante Turpin, Cowboys jersey, signed. It even has the JSA verification that somebody stood there and watched him sign it. You can win that. You have a chance to win that if you are subscribed to us when we hit 1,000 subscribers. We have gone up 150 subscribers in the past 9-10 days, I think. We're getting there. We're going fast. So get on. Give you a chance to get that jersey. All right. Now we get into the meat and potatoes of what I want to talk about, the USFL news. What do we got?
TV schedules, man. The schedules for the entire season, which is different. There's no flex scheduling. Came out this year. What do you think, man? What do you think?
Wait a second. So that's new to me. There's no flex scheduling?
There's no flex schedule. Everything's got a time slot and a channel.
But they can't switch slots? They can't swap them?
There was nothing about that in the press release. I
don't believe it. Like the NFL, no. I don't know. That's crazy. Because think about it. What if the Maulers come out and they go 10-0 in the season? You mean
when they do? When they do?
They go 9-1 on the season, losing to only the Houston Gamblers.
Yeah.
They're on USA more than anybody else. America's team, as you said. But still, USA is not getting the views that you want the 9-1 team to get. You would switch, right? So you would switch with, like, I believe the Showboats have the most. They have 8 games that are on primetime networks, or they're on Fox or NBC. So they would switch that. If the Showboats aren't doing well and the Maulers are, they would switch it. Because why would you keep the best team? It's like last season, they would just leave the Stallions on Peacock. Like, that's just not what you would do.
I think it's set in stone. I think they're really aiming towards marketing. I think the Maulers, you know, so you live in Texas. You live in Texas when the Cleveland Browns were 1-15, right? When they were 1-15, did you see Cleveland Brown games on your television unless you bought the NFL ticket? The answer is no. They had to earn it. So I just think the season is too short, and it's just the way it is. And we're America's team. The Maulers are America's team. We're on USA. 40% of the games are on USA. But also the Maulers, you know, after May 20th, they don't have to leave Canton until after July 4th when they win the championship. So it's all right. We'll be on national TV at the end, so it's fine.
That's fair, and I guess it kind of would work out. But okay, so the news again is the TV schedules have come out. It's great. Like, it proves once and for all that there are no games that are not on a Friday or Saturday and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday are the best times to have a game. There's only one game that's past 7 p.m. I believe. Yeah. And so not until the playoffs, actually. I mean, that's great. That is huge. There's one.
You got to remember it's all lead-in. So all those games on USA are being led in by Premier League Soccer, which gets pretty good ratings. They're trying to get additional fans. The NBC games, I believe, have the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness or one of them in May. There's NASCAR races on Sunday. It's just a lot of quality, experienced, veteran, I guess, lead-in programs that are they know where the ratings are gonna be, and I just think it's executed perfectly again by the Fox Corporation, Daryl Johnson and his team. So
what was the terminology? They said linear viewing, right? So it's one into the next. They really focused on what's before Kentucky Derby, MLS. I think somebody on Twitter, it's interesting because this account has only said lies, but then now they explained what linear television is, and it was truthful. So that was super helpful. But yeah, leading in is super great. I really do enjoy the fact that they were cognizant of it. They really paid attention. They made sure that they were gaining views organically. It wasn't just a commercial, a billboard. It was, you're watching the Kentucky Derby, and then this comes on, and you say, hey, what's that? And you jump in, you watch it, and maybe you find a team. Maybe it's the Houston Gamblers. Maybe then you follow Ace over on @PocketAces USFL on Twitter and Instagram. selfless plug, but I love it. I think it's great. It might even be my ride later. But
I think one of the best things, all the lead-in sports that are going into the soccer, NASCAR for the most part, racing, they're it's not like baseball, which it could go 6 hours, right? NASCAR could lead in, but like Premier League soccer, it's 90 minutes, man. It's over when it says it's going to be over, and they have the TV down pat, so it's never going to run over. I remember week 1 last year. Remember the rain delays and all that kind of stuff, like that screwed up the league. I think there's a solid plan.
There was an MLB game that went to the
the Houston Astros, I believe.
Yeah, it went to the 11th inning.
Yeah,
it was a mess. So I'm glad that they kind of nipped that in the bud as well. Yeah. So it's everything they did was, as the young kids say, a W. It was a W. It was a W. I love it. It was great. I really enjoyed that one. The press release. Usually you don't think TV schedules would get you that excited. It got me excited. It showed that we're here. It's about to happen, and we know where to watch it. So that was exciting. The other news that came out was today, unpromptly, out of nowhere, all of the coaching staffs dropped, which was crazy because you and I dropped the coaching staffs for our teams like 1 hour before that happened. So
well, it was funny because I was kind of working on that, and then you dropped the graphic. I was like, son of a gun, man. He beat me to it. Like, I was going to be the first one. And then everything started leaking out, and they started putting the post. And I was like, man, what timing do we have today? But
it felt like we started the leak because I had gotten the names. I was getting ready. I was doing my research, getting an article ready, and then it just started dropping. And I saw someone start leaking. So I pulled the trigger and put it all out there because I was like, man, this might actually happen today. It just unprompted, had no idea. So that was cool. It was fun. Got it.
Yeah, well, I like how they did it. It was quick. Not a lot of fanfare, which is fine, but it just got people going. People talking. There were some changes that we didn't know going into today. There were a lot that we knew. It just needed to be official. I know the coaching contracts are funny, so
they are weird.
Yeah,
because I announced the coaching staff 2 months ago.
Yeah,
and it's half different since that happened. And those
you got a coach change. Yeah, you got a brand new head coach.
But it didn't even have to do with the head coach.
Oh,
it had nothing to do with that. They were looking for a running back coach, and they didn't have a quality control coach. Or no, they did have a quality control coach. So they had a defensive line coach in Philip Daniels. They had Jeff Smart at quality control, and then they didn't have a running backs coach. And then once Curtis Johnson came in, I found out that Jeff Smart and Philip Daniels both had committed verbally but never signed contracts. So they both walked away for other things. And then Curtis Johnson was able to kind of fill in those roles with who he wanted to fill, which was cool because then he was more inclined to keep the people that were already there, which is great because I've already talked to them. I like them. And so that helped me out, which was cool. But I also like that there's some continuity going into season 2, that it wasn't all rehashed right now, right before the season starts, which would have been tough.
The weird thing with this, where the league kind of lays in the calendar year and how the coaching contracts work out. So, like, you can plan the whole summer, and then the NFL opens up spots, college opens up spots right when they're trying to figure out their staffs. So, like, it's a very weird dynamic kind of thing where the contracts, I believe they end on January 1st. It might be a little later for them. That's right when the NFL starts hiring. So if you get a new NFL head coach and you got a tie, maybe you had 1 year off, you're going to take the NFL job.
Well, of course. And you should, right? That's what the goal is. This whole league is to kind of be a stepping stone, help propel you. So if you can get there, do it. But yeah, I believe it was January 1st.
Yeah.
The players' contracts ended, but then that's when new coaches, because they had signed new coaches. The Gamblers had a couple coaches already before January 1st that I couldn't talk about because their contracts didn't go into effect until January 1st. Yeah. So it's funny because I interviewed Coach Ray Richleski a week before I could even drop the interview. So I told him while we were doing it, I said, hey, I just want you to know this isn't going to come out for 2 weeks. And then it'll drop because technically you're not on the team. So I kept my fingers crossed and it worked.
Talking about since obviously we know the Gamblers and the Maulers a little bit better than all the rest. What new coach are you excited about? Don't say the easy answer with the OC. I want a position coach that you're excited about.
No. I got one that's not. Well, it could be the OC. Eric Price, his dad's an El Paso legend. I love that. But no, the guy I'm going to go with is Quan Drake, our new defensive line coach.
Okay.
Because he's the only coach that I've seen so far that I know, hands down, was a lateral move. He went from the Panthers defensive line last year to the Gamblers defensive line this year. Did you know that?
No, I did not know.
Yes. So I actually knew who he was because on United by Football, back when Chase DeMore, who was too hot to handle,
Hollywood,
too hot to stay on a roster, he was talking about his defensive line coach for the Panthers. And I still remembered it, that he said, I don't know. He said, Coach Quan, I don't know if he loves me. I don't know if he hates me, but he's the best defensive line coach I've ever had. And I remembered that because it was memorable and he was going crazy in their room. And then when I got the names, I was putting together the article. I was like, wait, I know that name. And I looked it up and I was right. Defensive line coach of the Michigan Panthers last season, which was arguably their best position. And now he's a Houston Gamblers coach. Now he's on our defensive line. When we lost Ty Law, he's doing great things over there in the 3-letter league. I really enjoyed him. Ty Warren, sorry, not Ty Law.
Other Patriot legend.
Yes. Yeah. Ty Warren, he did great things. I loved our defensive line. But now we have another coach that has already proven himself in this league, which is what's huge to me because I was a little worried. It's hard to do a sophomore act for such a good defensive line. And now we have him, and I feel great about it. So that's the coach that I'm excited about. Who are you excited about for the Pittsburgh Maulers?
Well, the newest one today, the one I learned about this week, Coach Wood from the University of Delaware. But you know him from the 99 Vikings. I don't know if you know them. Do you remember those 99 Vikings with Culpepper and Moss?
I know the team. I was
10
years old.
Yeah. So they were dynamic and they were like the highest scoring offense until I think the Patriots of 07.
Here we go.
But
yeah, that offense was insane.
He's coaching the wide receivers with the Maulers, but he was the quarterbacks coach with Dante Culpepper. So he's been around. He's been around forever. He's a veteran coach. I think he provides some leadership. He's been a head coach, Florida A&M. He's been around the block. He's been in the NFL, college, FCS, FBS, every level of football. I believe he played for Hayden Fry out there at University of Iowa back in the day. He's just been around, and I'm excited for that veteran because the Maulers tend to have a younger staff, obviously, right? Or first-time guys, first time, like this is their second year really calling plays, Tomlinson and that kind of stuff. But I'm really looking forward to Coach Wood. And then Emerson Martin, he played offensive line in the NFL. He was originally going to be the wide receivers coach. He's been around like college football a lot, but he moved to offensive line when the position opened up. So I'm excited about that. But
nice.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't want to jump the gun for what we have coming up later.
Yeah.
It's not. Okay, so something that I noticed and I thought was pretty interesting was that the Panthers last year, people kind of knocked Jeff Fisher because he brought in all young guys.
Yeah.
He brought them in. He wanted to give them a shot. He brought in more new guys to replace the ones that he lost, and then Mike Nolan took over, and now it's still a young staff.
Yeah.
And I think that that's cool, that it still works, and now this young staff who thought that they were going to learn from Jeff Fisher is going to learn from Mike Nolan, including a couple of the guys that Mike Nolan brought with him. So I think that that's a cool thing, that the Panthers are kind of keeping a continuity into season 2, even though it's mostly a new staff other than, say, Eric Marty. I think just Eric Marty. Yeah, that's crazy. Whoo, that is wild. It is only Eric Marty, not even the head coach, and Steve Kaiser. They're the only two people who are back. I had to bring up my notes of, USFL_showboats. Brandon, the captain, he put together a thread with all of the coaching staffs from last year, the graphic, and this year, the graphic side by side so that you could compare them. So that's how I was easily able to do that. But the Panthers only have one returning coach and a GM.
Yeah.
And the fact that they still have continuity with the young coaches, even with the new head coach, is cool to me, and I enjoy that. Although I'm glad that Quan Drake is over in the Gamblers now. So, sorry, Panthers, you get to face him week
1. We'll talk more about coach staff in a little bit, but are you ready to tell the truth?
I'm ready to tell the truth.
All right.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
All right. 2 truths and no lies. So online, we have personas a little bit. We're very positive, and we always try to spin things in a good light because we really do love the players, the coaches, and this league as a whole, and we don't want to make it look bad. But here, in 2 truths and no lies, we each ask each other 2 questions, and we have to be brutally honest. So my first question to you, Webb.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. No Quan Drake for the Panthers. That was their best position group from last season.
Yeah.
Do you think that it hurts the Panthers and that in this transition period, that little piece of continuity that they needed between a defensive line coach and offensive coordinator, now they only have an offensive coordinator. How bad do you think that hurts them?
Mike Nolan's a defensive guy. I really think he will come in and kind of put his own system. It's kind of like what Flip's doing down in New Orleans. He brought in offensive guys while he let Tenuta stay on the defensive side. I think Michigan's going to be fine. I do think they're the 4th team right now in the division.
Dang.
But I think the North is it's getting closer than what it was last year. Last year, I think the race was over by week 5, right? Mm-hmm. Like you basically knew the playoff teams.
Yeah. There were 2 teams who had no wins.
Yeah, I think the Panthers only won when they played the Maulers.
Yes.
I feel like the North Division is going to be very competitive all 10 weeks this year.
Yeah.
And I think Mike Nolan is going to run his own defense and he'll be fine. I think you guys will benefit the most from
the Quan Drake departure.
Yeah, Quan Drake. Because you guys have a brand new defensive line. So he fits in perfectly for you guys because it's not like you're having leftovers where they're saying, well, we did it this way last year. Or we did this. You got I don't think there's one returner, right? Now that Ahmed Gooden's
on the defensive line. So as far as starters go, the only person who played a good amount would be Corey Thomas. Corey Thomas, the defensive tackle. Otherwise, I think we have 2 more returners, but it's a big room. It's one of the largest rooms. Well, if you take defensive line as a whole, there's more of them than there are defensive backs. We have a lot of defensive backs.
Wow.
So there's a lot of young faces, a lot of people who, they were in an NFL camp this past training camp. So they're young, they're up and coming. And I think that you're right. Quan Drake is a great coach to have. He's energetic. He's young, which is awesome. And he meshes with that kind of room well. If you can wrangle in Chase Moore, I don't think you'll have a problem with anybody. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
All right.
My truth number 1. All right, so the big signing this week was Dakota Prokop from the I think you're Winnipeg Blue Bombers, right? Aren't you a Winnipeg fan?
Yes, but I think we wanted – nope. Here we go. There you go.
So I want to know, who do you think is the better quarterback coming from Canada this year? Prokop or MBT?
I feel like you're going soft on me because this is an absolute layup. I'm Babe Ruth sitting at the plate, and you're tossing softballs underhand up to me with an aluminum bat. It's MBT. These quarterbacks were both in the Grey Cup. Both of them. One of them had 2 carries for 9 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cool.
Okay. All right.
He had no throws. He had 1 throw, no completions. The other one won the Grey Cup as the starter. I think it's pretty obvious which one. Dakota Prokop was never actually a starter in the CFL. The guy went to Oregon, transferring from Montana State. He played against Justin Herbert, in the same quarterback room, and he lost the job eventually. And that's why he didn't even go as an undrafted free agent, because he wasn't even starting by the end of his college career. He went over to the CFL. MBT, hands down, is the better quarterback. he's old as dirt. But
I think Prokop has obviously the higher ceiling. I think him being in New Jersey is perfect. I think that might be one of the most stable situations in the USFL.
Okay.
He performed well at Montana State. I know you're going to scoff at it. It's not Oregon. It's not FCS.
No, I don't even care that it's not Oregon. I care that that's 8 years ago. That's what I care about.
But Bethel Thompson, I'm just not a big fan of him. Man.
Won the Grey Cup.
He just won. Congratulations. I don't
Congratulations.
know.
It's like J.Mar Smith going to the CFL and being
5 years older. It's like you're talking about Prokop, talking about his past and everything, but he's 5 years older than Bethel Thompson. I just think Prokop is in a better situation. I think
5 years younger.
5 years younger. Bethel Thompson's 5 years older.
Yeah.
I just think Prokop's in a better situation, and I think he's going to get the most. Mike Riley's going to get if anything was proven last year, Mike Riley gets the most out of every single player on that roster. It's simple as that.
Okay.
Like there's a reason why they're signing him. There's an absolute reason why they're signing him. Yes, I know you got DeAndre Johnson there. I get it. But they talked all offseason about Laletta. Like
get another Laletta. Like I just don't get it. Listen, this is what you're saying. So this is the equivalent. This is Case Cookus and Alex Magoo, both going up to the CFL. And you're trying to convince me that Magoo was the better signing. That is what's happening right now. That is hands down what is happening.
This is coming from the same guy last year that said that Brian Scott was better than Tiamu. And I was like, no, Case Cookus is there. And you're like, no, it's not Case. It's Brian Scott. I love Brian Scott. That was last year. So I don't know if your judgment is proper with these guys before you actually see them on the field. You could talk Canada all you want. You could say Aaron Rodgers is the D3 of Brian Scott. I
never said that.
You did. You did. That was his nickname last year. I'm telling you right now, Dakota Prokop is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'm telling you right now. Like, I really, really believe in this kid. Yes, he lost his job to a freshman, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert was drafted 5th overall and right now, or 6th overall, and right now is considered probably a top 7 quarterback in the NFL. Am I wrong?
7? What a random number.
No, but I actually, when I was saying that statement, I was like, is he 4? Is he 5? I'll just say 7. 7 safe,
okay.
Right? So Herbert's somewhere there. Second of all, Oregon was terrible. That was the guy that replaced. I can't pronounce his last name, but that was the guy that replaced Chad Kelly, right? So
you can't pronounce Chad Kelly.
No.
Chad Kelly.
No. Hemlick, whatever. Not Chad Kelly.
Right. Chad Kelly was an old man.
Chip Kelly. Did I say Chad? My bad.
You said Chad.
But I just feel that Prokop is in a better situation, I think, at the end of the day. And I know Lowe's going to see this and flip out and talk about it for, 12 days in a row on a show. But I just feel like Prokop, by the end of the season, is going to be a solid option. And you were laughing at me last year at Cooker, so I could pull the tape, man. You were laughing at me last year.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, I'm the QB whisperer.
Pull the tape, but I also would like for you to write down the fact that you said that Dakota Prokop is going to be one of the leading quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah.
I need you to write that down for me.
No, you got it on video. You got it on video.
I'm gonna laugh in your face. I'm going to clip this. I'm going to put it on YouTube Short, and I'm going to say, everybody laugh with me.
Producer KB, please take note of the timestamp because you can send it right to him. It's 2507-0809. Send it to Ace so he can clip it and put it on a YouTube Short, and we'll talk about it in July 4th.
That's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. All right, let's move on to my truth number 2. Let's do it. I'll give you a chance. Can Prokop compete? Can Prokop compete? Because I don't think he can.
I do.
You're talking about a guy who was a backup who was only used for his legs. He's a poor man's DeAndre Johnson. Are you seriously telling me that? Also, I put together a short. I found his tape. I don't know where you found this guy's highlights that you could look at him and tell me this, because I found 2 plays of him in the CFL. That's all I could find. So where are you looking at? You're looking at Montana State film?
46 touchdowns in 23 games is a pretty good number. I like it. Am I wrong? I don't care if it's 7 years ago. I really don't care. I really don't care. I think he's in a good situation. I think he's talented enough. If you read the scouting reports, I think he's mobile enough. He's 65% passer in college, even with Oregon, where he lost his job to Justin Herbert.
Oh my God!
Did he light it up in the CFL? No, but
no.
It's a lot of cuts when you are the second quarterback. It comes down to your nationality. You know that the roster rules up there. So was he a victim? I know Chase Forcade personally outperformed the backup quarterback for Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Yeah, the Rough Riders. He outperformed them statistically, but they cut Chase Forcade last year because of the Canadian national rules. So was he a victim of that? What was their number one guy? And they're like, you know what? We'll take the Canadian over the American because they're trying to develop their sport. Was he a victim of that? I don't know. I really don't know.
4 different teams for 6
I believe
years
it's only 3. I believe it's only 3. But Blue Bombers went to the Blue Bombers had the kid from Oregon, right, as quarterback. Mazzola. I forget his name, but I don't remember. He's behind solid guys. It's not like he's in a quarterback room. It's not like the Pittsburgh Maulers of last year, where it's just like, it's your turn to use the
out there, buddy.
It's going to be your turn this week. All right, like he was in solid situations the entire time, and he's stuck on the roster. And as an American, if you're not performing and you stick on a roster, you got to be talented. So I just believe he landed in the perfect spot, and I think he'll compete. So that's it. I'm dying on that. I'm dying on that molehill. I can't.
To be a starter over there as an American, you have to be better. MBT started. He's an American quarterback, and he won the Grey Cup this year. He is better than Prue Cup.
So he was in a good situation. He was in a situation that fit him. Like I'm not saying
the Blue Bombers were the better team, and he still won.
I'm
not talking about this. I'm not talking. We're a USFL podcast. We're going to your truth number 2. Come at me.
All right. This one's not as intense.
No.
Are the coaching staffs an improvement this year?
I think so. I think just strictly off the fact that let's look at the head coaches first of all. We lost half of the head coaches.
Yeah.
Which means that the ones that came in saw the product last year. They saw the league, they saw season 1, and they liked what they saw, and they said, I want to get into that. So they're coaches who know what they're getting into. So even if, let's say, they're the same caliber, like, do I think that Curtis Johnson is a better coach than Kevin Sumlin? I don't. I think that they're both great head coaches, but I think that once you've seen a season and you come in, you can come in and build from the ground up and not have any of the bad things that you learned from last season. You come in fresh start. I like that. I like that. They're bringing in, I saw a lot more new, younger coaches coming in, which I really like, because that's what this league is about. Not only were a lot of the free agents, unless you were, the Reuben Fosters, the Robert Nicondicis, a couple of the Showboats guys were older dudes. Other than that, they were all, and NBT, keep talking about them. Other than that, a lot of the players were 26 and younger. A lot of the coaches were 30 and younger, which for a coach is wild. So I love that they're giving them the chance. They're bringing in these guys with young minds, creative minds. I enjoy that. So I think that it is an improvement.
That's awesome. I think last year the head coach decisions were based off a name a lot more.
Yes.
I think these guys are here to prove themselves a little bit. Last year it seemed like it was a lot of guys, and I loved Fedora. I loved Summerlin, and I feel like they were just there to repair their image, not to develop themselves. And I think this year you get a lot of coaches that are developing themselves.
I agree with that. I mean, John DeFilippo's coming in, they're really trying to make a name for themselves, prove that they can coach, head coach-wise, on the professional level. Yeah. I agree. Hungrier dudes. Hungrier guys.
Yeah. Definitely. And you got guys like Ted Cottrell in New Jersey, as you know, he was on the coaching staff for the original Donald Trump New Jersey Generals back in the 80s. And now he's back. So like John Tenuta brought his son on as the linebacker coach. Carnell Lake gets his first shot as the DC of the boats, right? Replacing Pepper Johnson. Like, you got guys that are getting opportunities. You're getting some younger coaches, but you're also getting the veterans that are there to provide. And I talked about Alex Wood, like he coached Dante Culpepper. There's players in this league that weren't even born when Dante Culpepper was playing or in his prime or when he's drafted. Like, if you really think about it, he's been around for that long. So, like, I'm really excited to see where this league is going, especially coaching wise. And I hope what happens to the young coaches is they get a shot, if not in the NFL, but to lead an organization in the USFL, like a Horton, like a Marty, like Tenuta, right? Tenuta's son. Like, I wish that's where this league is going, that those guys get to replace the older guys when they move on or when they get promoted or whatever, or they take a different opportunity. So that's where I'm hoping it goes.
I agree. Well, I guess we agree on that one. That's a little less heated of a topic. And that brings us to our next thing. If you look up there at the ticker, a little rundown, we got ride or die. We were a little quicker on the draw there. I appreciate it. So, ride or die. Webb and I will each pick a thing that we're riding with this week and that we're dying on. So, if we ride with it, it's great. If we die with it, it's bad. I'm riding with the TV schedule. They really pushed Fox and NBC. They put a lot of games on there. I also love the fact that, kind of like the Super Bowl, each year it goes to a different provider. That this year, the USFL Championship is going to be on the NBC network instead of Fox, where last year it was Fox. Fox owns the league. Lowe said they easily could have strong-armed NBC and said, no, this is ours. So the fact that it looks like they're going to be flip-flopping each year. Love that. Love that they're making sure that they're keeping friends with NBC. You need that backer. I love that they're using Fox and NBC more heavily. They're not doing any games on any days that aren't Saturday and Sunday. Everything was great about it. So I'm riding with it.
Fair enough. Ready for my ride?
I am so ready.
So I'm very pro Maulers. We know this, right? Like, I really like what they did in the offseason. I really, really, really do. Right? Reuben Foster, all that. I can go
never
on.
tell.
But I'm gonna do a new segment right here, right in front of you.
Okay.
I'm ringing the bell.
What the heck?
Deion Kane was the best offensive free agent signing that the league had this year. I watched him for 3.5 years, roughly, because he did get a little banged up at Clemson, and he is dynamic. He won a national title. I think he'll fit perfectly in the Skip Holtz system. And Deion Kane is my offensive free agent signing of the season. And this happened, I believe, 7 days ago, 60 days ago, since our last taping. Go ahead.
Even though he was in the 3-letter league, wasn't starting and demanded a release?
He was in the NFL training camp. He was like on the last cut this past August. He's talented. Who knows what's going on in the 3-letter league? We're going to really discuss that. We can really go down that path. I think you made a YouTube short about that, right? You made a YouTube short talking about the 3-letter league. We can really go down that. I think there's a lot of ugly situations going right now. Like, I really do. There's a couple organizations that are just like, what's going on? I
do love that they have the Maulers, but they have their team that's the Maulers. But yeah, I agree. I do think he's wildly talented, and he had some NFL experience. So, will I say that he's the best pickup? No, but he's worth a little ring in the bell. Maybe not as loud as that was, but for everybody watching, that was not planned on anybody's part but Webb, and I had no idea, and I have headphones in, and they are bleeding.
I just workshopped an idea, all right? Like, it was there.
Really fair. It's like back when we did Polar Opposites, and I threw some shade.
Yeah, and I got the fedora. Yeah.
Oh, man, those were the days.
That's back when you said Case Cookus was not really a good quarterback, but we'll be all right.
Dude, you got cut from the Vikings. What was I supposed to say? All right, so what is my die of the week? Yeah, it's no warning on the coaching announcements. That's more of just a personal thing because you and I weren't completely ready for that to happen. Yep. Like, we had the names, we were getting ready.
But we beat them.
We did beat them, but it was kind of a scramble because suddenly we were seeing things and we were, wait. this might be happening today, where a lot of the times we get heads up, we know, we have times. And today it just kind of was a blindside, much like you're doing to me at the end of this show. But it just kind of happened. So that's more of a personal die. The league didn't do anything bad. I'm sure that the fans absolutely loved it. You want to see your coaching staff. You want to know who you're rooting for. But for us, it was a little stressful because I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for it to drop. I was just kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And my die. So tonight, we're filming this on Wednesday night. They had an event for season ticket holders in Canton. Really expected that they were going to release the jersey. You know, you got your biggest supporters right there, guys, people that have bought tickets. Ducky was there, right? Coaches were there. I know both Hortons were there. Steve Smith from the Generals were there. Like, you had all these people here, and they didn't release the jersey. And I just feel like that's a missed opportunity because those are obviously your biggest fans. First of all, they're showing up on a Wednesday night to the Hall of Fame to come mingle with you. It's not a weekend event. It's like people have lives, so they could be working. And it was like at 7, 8 o'clock at night. So it wasn't. I just feel like they missed an opportunity there to promote the league, especially with their most passionate Canton fans, which may be the hub that you need the most passionate fans to keep showing up every weekend. So that's just my die.
I agree. They should have dropped the jersey.
Yeah, eventually. So
they should have dropped the jersey. I agree.
Yeah.
All
ready
right,
to get excited?
I'm so ready, my man.
All right.
Oh, maybe not.
All right, so blindside. We take turns every other week. Last week you tried to shock me with trying to make me name a quarterback for the Maulers. Like, I was scared of that. So obviously we're going to label this the MBT Pro Cop debate episode, right?
Do it.
Right? That's what's
Sure,
going to
yeah,
be.
Because I kind of lost my mind on it because
we're going to clip it and all that kind of stuff.
I just don't understand.
So my blind side to you is, how would you judge? It's double blind side. I'm gonna punch you this way. You're gonna end up that. I'm gonna punch you that way, and I'm gonna okay.
It's gonna be like Get Smart, where you go to punch me. And
how are we gonna judge this? How would we judge a higher success in the USFL? Are we going straight passing yards? What's that?
I want Brew Cup to prove that he can even start. What are you talking about?
Okay, but I just want to know when we do our season recaps at the end and the authority continues past. How are we gonna gauge this? I just fantasy points. You want to do fantasy points?
Nah. Because you can have one game that's Case Cookis against the Panthers Part 2. Yep. And he just went off and had a 75-yard run. Like, the Panthers weren't in that game. They didn't want to be there. They knew they were sucking. So it can be skewed. I would go probably QBR.
Okay.
End of the season.
So we're going to go.
Literally a rating.
Okay.
But also, they have to have at least started half of the season. 5 games.
Half the season. I'm writing this down, actually. I'm legit. Half
because
so 5
because
games.
I need Brew Cup to prove to me that
Hold on. Before you say started 5 games, New Jersey, Perez and Johnson kind of switched, right? So if he contributes,
if it's like a half and half type of thing, like if they're basically splitting snaps, that counts.
Okay, all right. QBR in half the season, they got to play like a solid 5 games.
Solid 5 games, because I don't even think Brew Cup starts.
All right. So the second part of this blind side is, what's our bet when Pro Cup becomes the better quarterback at the end? Like, what are we going to wager?
I will buy a Mauler shirt, and I will wear it for 2 episodes of USFL Authority. 2 weeks of me wearing the black and gold. And then you will get a gambler shirt. And then after 2 weeks, you can just send it to me because I'm sure you're the same size. So we'll just swap these.
All right. I just wrote that down inside this box. It's going to go in my keepsake folder. I'm gonna be ready for the July 18th episode of this USFL Authority. Yeah.
Wait, but you said it was a 2-parter, didn't you?
That was my 2-part. How are we going to judge it, and what are we going to bet?
Okay.
Because this, I think this is one of those.
Well,
debates.
I don't even think he starts. I think it's like last season we had. So this is what I think. I think that we're going to get through a week of camp, and then I think that they might bring in another quarterback. Think last year they drafted Ben Holmes. I mean, we've learned now it was an allocation process kind of thing, but Coach Riley needed literally 1 week to look at Ben Holmes before he said, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
I think we might see 1 week and a quarterback leaves and another one comes in.
Okay. Oh, and I understand that. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But why would you say that they signed him? We can go on and on. This legitimately has been the entire episode. Why would they wait until the week before or 5 days before camp, 7 days, whatever it is, to finally make a decision if they didn't like what they saw? You know what I'm saying?
They're not with the USFL for a while, and then finally they grabbed up his rights. I mean, it seemed almost like
you're just checking pulse. You played quarterback, checking pulse. Oh, sign on the dotted line. We need a third.
Basically, because the coaches showed up to camp and they said, "Man, we don't have a third quarterback." So they got one. So they grabbed one while they look because they had to have one. And they're going to drop him. And they're going to pick someone else up. I'm calling my shot. A Babe Ruth walking up to the plate. Boom. Second Babe Ruth in the episode. And we're cranking a homer. You're going to drop Fruit Cup, dude.
KB, please put the second timestamp for this because he called himself Babe Ruth twice, but especially this one, he thought he was king. All right.
Oh, it's a Fruit Cup over MVP. It's what started this whole thing.
Yeah.
You're crazy. And I don't understand it.
Okay, fair enough. We'll see. We'll see at the end of the year. I know you said this last year about Cookus, so I feel comfortable in my skin. I'm comfortable going back and forth with you. So
okay, but I hadn't done my due diligence on Case Cookus. If you go look at Case Cookus' college, you look at him in training camps, he was legitimate. And that was my fault. I'm doing better things now. I grow. I learn.
Wait.
That Brew Cup is not good.
Okay, how old is
not good. That's too hard.
How old is Case Cookus?
He's 28.
Oh, okay. So Brew Cup was 29, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's 29?
Mm-hmm.
So they played in the same exact conference at the same exact time, right?
Maybe.
Montana State.
Okay.
I mean, Northern Arizona, they're in the same conference, and they put up relatively numbers. But with Brew Cup, it means that he's too old because he played in the backup. But Cookus has been kicking around in the spring leagues and stuff, and kind of playing, kind of not. Was the backup last year until Brian Scott got hit by the Maulers. And now, all of a sudden, Case Cookus is great, while Pro Cup has gone through the same exact process and just needs an opportunity.
It's not the same exact process. It's not the same exact process.
How is it not the same?
Immediately went to the CFL. He didn't even go into an NFL camp. Case Cookus has bounced around multiple NFL teams. He's still getting shots. If he hadn't broken his leg in the championship, he might have been in an NFL camp all of last season. So, yeah, it's different. And write it down, stamp what your boys last season said. The Breakers wearing a blue shirt, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it's purple. It's blue. It's blue. All right, whatever. But that brings us to the conclusion of episode 6 of the USFL Authority. We got heated in this one, man. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it. But make sure you go to the USFL Network YouTube. If you're watching this, you're probably already there. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell button. Link, bell, boom. It's done. You're subscribed, and you are in for a giveaway for a signed USFL MVP Cavante Turpin Cowboys jersey, certified. Anything else you want to
say? Stamp. We'll just go with stamp.
Stamp.
All right.
I remember that. That was fun. All right. Y'all have a great week.
Yeah.
See ya.